Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Today, we're doing a mock draft. We're going to do our pre combine one today. Let's go ahead and see how everything sets up. And then next week, we'll do one reacting to how the combine goes. This week, we're going to start off with the Tennessee Titans going Abdul Carter. To me, it's honestly, it makes the most sense. I think they should get Cam Ward, probably if they need a quarterback in their eyes, but I don't think they do. Like, I really do believe that these guys can go ahead, wait until next year, even though it's not guaranteed. Get the best player on the board and move on. At number 2, the Cleveland Browns are up. This one, they really hope Abdul Carter falls to them. But we're going to say in this scenario, they go ahead and they miss out on a free agent quarterback. So they draft Cam Ward at number 2. At 3, the New York Giants are up. And we say, for some reason, with the Matthew Stafford rumors going around, let's go ahead and see what if the Giants do get a free agent quarterback. What would they do? Well, then they would go Travis Hunter. At number 4, that leaves the New England Patriots in a bit of a precarious situation. A lot of people have him go Will Campbell. I just don't have him graded. I wouldn't take him at 4. To me, I have a much higher grade on Mason Graham. I have a higher grade on Tet McMillan, Ashton Genty, of course, but I'm not going Genty here. It really comes down to Tet McMillan and Mason Graham. And to me, I just have a higher grade on Mason Graham. So you take Mason Graham, plug him into the middle of the defense. At pick 5, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars up. And here, I really don't think they love how the board fell, to be honest with you. And they might, in this situation, really want to look to trade back. But you have a new offensive coach in Liam Cohen, who came from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think he might go with Tet McMillan. He's not Mike Evans, but he can get a big-bodied guy who can go out there and play. Even though it's not the biggest need, he's just the best player on the board for me. At pick 6, it's the Raiders up. Listen, I think this is really the floor for Shadur Sanders, maybe the Jets at 7. So we're going to go ahead and put Sanders there. At pick 7, it's the New York Jets. And for them, I struggle with these guys quite a bit. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do something I've seen in mock drafts, but it's not something I've done before. And we're going to give him Tyler Warren. At pick 8, the Carolina Panthers are up. I'm going to go ahead and give them a player I'm not as high on, but he's somebody that the league seems to love. We're going to go and give them Jalen Walker. I forget, he's listed as a linebacker. He's way down the board here at number 32. He's low on my board as well. I'm not near as high on him. I just think he's too much of a tweener, but we're going to give the Panthers Jalen Walker here at pick 8. At number 9, that brings up the New Orleans Saints. And for them, I honestly think you could take a guy like Will Campbell and plug him in and not have to worry about your tackle position probably moving forward. I've kind of soured on him as a guard a little bit. I think he plays a little too high in his stance, and I do wonder how that'll translate inside the guard. And I do think power gives him some issues, which is another thing you don't love out of a guard. I do think he's a really good prospect. I do have a first-round grade on him. I don't want to make it sound like I'm not high on Will Campbell. It's just I don't know that he's a guard like some people talk about. I think I've kind of made my mind up that he's a tackle. I almost put him here. And I kind of talked myself into changing my mind here. I am going to go ahead and give them Will Campbell to come in. He can play right tackle. You don't know what Ryan Ramchek's future holds. Bring him in, let him play right tackle for you. At pick 10, it's the Chicago Bears. And here you'd love to see offensive tackle is a serious possibility, I think, for these guys, or even a guard like a Armin Membu, who I have rated higher than Kelvin Banks. Josh Simmons has a true first-round grade for me. He'd be the highest-rated tackle in this class, or offensive lineman in this class to me, if he was healthy, honestly. But he's not, so he's unfortunately not going to go here to this pick. I'm going to go ahead and change it up, though. People are going to hate this pick, but I'm going to give him Ashton Genty here at pick number 10. At 11, we're going to go with the San Francisco 49ers, and we're going to go ahead and take them Armin Membu. He can play tackle. He can play guard. It just makes the most sense. Put him in there. Let him play wherever you need him. At 12, the Cowboys are up, and guess what? They can't get Ashton Genty now. So what might they do if they can't get Ashton Genty? Well, I think a wide receiver's an option, but I don't love Luther Burden here. Emeka Ibuka. I really like Matthew Golden, but I don't know. It doesn't seem like he's being mocked this high. So for the Cowboys, they're a really good team, and they could use just like an extra piece on their D-line. They've liked bigger edges before. I'm going to go ahead and give them a guy I'm not as high on, and that's Mykel Williams. At pick 13, the Miami Dolphins are up. I'd love to give him Armin Membu, but he's not here. I'm going to give him Tyler Booker just because I'm a big fan of his. He's rated, I think, like 16 or 17 on my board, so maybe a little bit of a reach, but here's the thing. He is a big mauling guard, and I think that's what the Dolphins need. They need to change their identity from being all speed. They need some power. They need some strength. They need some grit on this team. And taking a guy like Tyler Warren could help start to transform that culture. At pick 14, it's going to be the Colts up. And guess what? They can't go ahead and just grab Tyler Warren here. So, what might the Colts do instead? Well, they went and got an edge last year. I think they need a DB. So, for me, it's Will Johnson coming off the board here. He dropped, and I don't think he'll drop this low. I have him rated high, but it all depends. His combine's a real worry, and I do question his speed a little bit because you never really see him play up near the line and then be able to sprint and hang with the receivers. So I do wonder about his speed a little bit. I'd like to see what his 40 time is, and I hope he does run at the combine and at least give us some answers and clarity there. At pick 15, it's the Atlanta Falcons up. Edge has kind of been picked clean, in my opinion, but Mike Green's going to go ahead and go here to them. At pick 16, it's the Arizona Cardinals, and I struggle. I always give them the same guy each and every time. But in this situation, we're going to change it up. I usually go Kenneth Grant here just because I think he'd be such a great get for the middle of their defense. I'm going to give him Calvin Banks here at pick 16. At pick 17, the Cincinnati Bengals come on the board. They could use a receiver if they don't tag. Well, they say they're tagging T. Higgins, so I'm not going to go ahead and give them a receiver anymore. They could use a guard. They could use D line. Well, to me, Kenneth Grant just plugs the middle of that defense so well, man. He'd be awesome for this team. At pick 18, that brings up the Seattle Seahawks. I'm not very high on James Pierce, so I'm not going to put him here. You look at the rest of the edge, you got a guy like Shamar Stewart who could really rise, but he's a true question mark. The thing is, Mike McDonald did come from the Baltimore Ravens where they've seen it work with OA. So let's go ahead and give him Shamar Stewart and let him develop him here. At pick 19, the Tampa Bay Bucks are up, and they need edge really, really bad. The problem is, edge is pretty picked in this situation for me. I'd take Nick Scorton, but I don't think he's the type the Bucks need. James Pierce, I'm like I said, just not as high on him. So we're going to change it up here. Normally, it's always edge for these guys. We're going to go to corner. We're going to draft Jahdae Barron. I do believe he can play on the outside. He's a really good prospect. He's somebody that I think you plug into that defense. He gives us somebody that we don't have. And he's going to be able to hopefully stay healthy. That's been the number one thing with Bucks corners lately. They haven't been able to stay healthy once they got paid, but Jahdae Barron would be a great get for this team. At pick 20, the Broncos are up. I'm going Colston Loveland here to the Broncos. He can move around. He can be that joker. He's an excellent pass catcher. He is much closer to Tyler Warren than people say he is. Like, people think there's a gap. To me, there's not. It's just pick your flavor. Do you want the receiving tight end or do you want the do-it-all tight end? I personally have always liked Loveland a little bit more than Warren. But in the NFL, the do-everything tight end is kind of hard to find when you get a guy like Kittle. And I could see that happening. Or a Gronk with Tyler Warren, so I get having him go ahead of Loveland. We've seen some recent receiving tight ends struggle a little bit. Look at Dalton Kincaid in Buffalo. So that's why he's going lower than I think he should. Realistically, he could go much higher. He's in the top 10 on my board right now. At pick 21, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers up. They kind of hate the way this board fell, if you ask me. I think they would go ahead, though, and they're going to take Matthew Golden here to play wide receiver for him. I just think they need somebody with George Pickens that can be reliable because I think Pickens is too unreliable. I think he's a little bit of a head case, which you find in a lot of receivers, but he just isn't somebody you can trust. You need an every down reliable player, and I think Golden can be that. I really like Abuka, but I've seen him kind of going down boards when you watch some of the people who actually do this for a living and have sources within the NFL. So my guess is he's probably dropping because even though I think Abuka has like a low floor, I don't think he has quite the ceiling. So I get maybe not taking him this high. At 22, it's the Chargers up. All my usual picks for them are gone. It's usually Loveland or, maybe Kenneth Grant, but they're gone. However, there is another D lineman here that I think they might like, and that's Walter Nolan. The thing is, I think they need a bigger guy than Nolan in the middle. So we're going to go ahead and look at this board and go, okay, the Chargers are kind of in trouble here. What are they going to do? There's not a ton of people that have value to me at this spot. This is a pick that I'm not sure Jim Harbaugh would make, but we're going to give him a Marion Hampton. I think he's a really good player, man. They want to run the ball. They want to lean on that. Put Hampton out there and let him do it because he can lead you. At pick 23, it is the Green Bay Packers. I don't see them going receiver in the first round. I could see them going interior offensive line. I could see them going maybe edge. They seem to like their edges. They fired their D-line coach and seem to be blaming him for the issues there. I don't think there's a corner I would take this high right now. So to me, the best value is going to be Gray Zabel, and we're going to plug him in. I think he can play center for them. At pick 24, it is the Minnesota Vikings. Again, don't love how the board fell for them, except for Walter Nolan. He'd be a great get. I don't see him going this low. He's going to be higher than this, in my opinion. But he fell to 24. Let's get him to the Minnesota Vikings. At pick 25, it's going to be the Houston Texans up. They need interior O-line, something fierce. So we're going to go to offensive tackle and see, Donovan Jackson's here. Maybe a little early for him. Let's go to the interior of the O-line, add that in. You just don't love the situation here. Like I said, Donovan Jackson, maybe, but I think it's a little too early to take him. So to me, you look at the receiver position, and I really personally think Emeka Egbuka would be a great get for him, and I'm going to pair him up with CJ Stroud. I know it's lazy because he went to Ohio State, but we're going to put him there. At pick 26, the Rams are up. I'm going offensive tackle here. I would love to say they're going to get a quarterback, but I just don't think there's a first round guy that's going to get down to them. And I think that if Sam Darnold, if they move on from Stafford, I think Darnold makes a ton of sense for these guys. And I'm going to give the Rams Josh Simmons, who's really high on my board, and they're going to count on him getting healthier and coming in and making a contribution. He is awesome, man. Like I said, he's like number 6 or so on my board right now, I think, for my top 50. You can look at the video and see. I've updated it a little bit since then because I'm finalizing grades right now, so it's already adjusted a bit. He is super good, man. He is awesome. I love Josh Simmons. I just wish he didn't tear his ACL. If not, I'd have my New England Patriots taking him at number 4. Yes, I'm a Bucs fan and a Patriots fan. Been a lifelong fan of the Patriots. The Bucs, I became a ticket holder prior to Tom Brady, and then Brady and Gronk came there, and well, I became a Bucs fan as well. So at pick 27, the Ravens are up. We're going to go right back to the offensive tackle position. We're going to give him a developmental guy in Josh Connerly Jr. He's a ways away, and these late tackles don't always work out in the first round, but we're going to put him to the Ravens and say they're going to trust themselves to be able to develop him to replace Ronnie Stanley long term. At pick 28, the Lions are up. I'm going to have them go ahead and take an edge here. And it's not going to be James Pierce Jr. because I'm not as high on him. I'm going to go with the 20-year-old Nick Scorton to the Detroit Lions. I think they're going to want a sturdier guy on the edge than James Pierce Jr. I see him as just a DPR. That's why I don't have a first-round grade on him, and I don't have him going in the first round in most of my mock drafts. I think Nick Scorton here is going to have a chance to really star at the next level. He put on too much weight to play at Texas A&M and play the way they wanted him to, and it did hurt him some. But you look at him at Purdue and he gets that weight off him. His explosiveness will be right back to that top tier level. You get him at 28, pair him with Aiden Hutchinson. He doesn't have to be the top guy. He can be the number 2 guy. And I think Scorton's going to explode the NFL level. And I have a good grade on Scorton. So at pick 29, it's the Commanders. They're going to go ahead and snag Luther Burden. He's not polished, but I think he could come in there and help this team out. And, you have Terry McLaurin there. And I think that's when you can take a guy like Burden and plug him in and have the most success with him. At pick 30, the Buffalo Bills are up. They'd love to get a receiver, but honestly, I don't see one on the board right now that I take in the first round. Go to the D-line. They have some options. I'm going to go ahead. I like Derek Carmen a lot. He has a little bit of a weird body, which is something that I notated in my notes, and I haven't really heard people talk about. He's kind of like top heavy. I don't know. He just doesn't look like a traditional NFL D lineman. I also don't know about Darius Alexander going this high. He's an older prospect, so I just don't think he's going to go this high. I'm not as high on TJ Sanders. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm probably wrong here because I'm in the minority, but I just haven't seen it. Like, to me, he's a bit of a boom bust guy. I see a lot of reps where he is absolutely washed out of the play and doesn't make an impact at all. So I wouldn't take him here. I'm going to go ahead and give the Bills Derek Carmen. He's still a bigger guy. He can provide pass rush. He was really good at that. I do think they need a little bit more of a run stuffer, but Kenneth Grant didn't make it here, so we're going to give him Derek Carmen. At pick 31, it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. And here's the thing. I would love to go offensive tackle here. I don't see a guy who can play tackle in the NFL. Donovan Jackson to me is a guard at the NFL level. I don't know that I take him in the first round. I have to watch more of his film to give myself a real solid grade on him. You look at D-line, well, we just went over that. It's pretty picked clean in my opinion. Then linebacker. Well, at linebacker, there happens to be Jahad Campbell, somebody that I really like. We're going to plug him into the Kansas City Chiefs here at 31. I just think it's a great value grab. At pick 32, the Philadelphia Eagles are up. And even though I don't think they need a guy like Malachi Starks, I can't believe he made it here. I don't think he'd be the pick, though. He's much higher on my board. It's just, I know the NFL doesn't value safety like that, and he had a rough year, so teams are going to be lower on him than me. Like, he was still good in my opinion. I just think they put him, like, he wasn't as comfortable in the slot as you would like, but I think he's a deep safety, and I can see why maybe you don't want to take that high in the draft. At pick 32, though, we're going to give the Eagles a developmental prospect to come in and play on the edge for them in a rotation. It's a move that I could see them making. They value D-line. They value premium positions. We're going to give him James Pierce Jr. here at pick 32. As we look through it, some new picks we did today. Tet McMillan to the Jaguars here at 5. Jalen Walker up here at 8. I'm just not as high on him. Genty going to the Bears is new. Michael Williams at 12. Once again, another guy I'm not as high on. Tyler Booker going high. Letting Will Johnson fall a little bit because there are questions about him. I think the second half of the first round, O'Marion Hampton going to the Chargers is really interesting. I just think he's a great prospect. I think he's actually going to end up being graded higher than I expected. I really like this mock. You guys got to let me know what you guys think down below. If you have any picks you hate, any picks you love, let me know. Either way, I want to thank you for watching. Have a great day. I'll catch you in the next one. I'm out.